Semi-Ramblomatic Volume 2 Blu-ray containing every 2025 episode is now available in our store. And the Volume 1 Blu-ray is back in stock as well. On sale now. I cried at the ending of Pragmata, and I kind of resent the game for it, because I don't think it was entirely earned. The characters aren't exactly complex. I mean, the little girl is fucking platinum blonde with the shining eyes and chubby cheeks of a Cabbage Patch doll, and I guess at the end, when it, and I'm trying my damnedest not to be too spoilery here, does something that makes the innocent, adorable, happy-go-lucky puppy dog of a girl robot very, very sad, it sort of cut straight through my intellectual brain and hit me right in the emotional feels. So while I'd usually mark getting me to well up as a point in favour of a game's writing, I'm not sure I'd say that in this case. On the other hand, why be snooty? Precious few games successfully make me cry, and I always appreciate when they do. It's cathartic to have the emotional release of a good old blubber, plus it helped loosen up all the snot in my head from my recent bout with the flu, so I shouldn't complain too much about how they achieved it. I'm not ashamed to admit that I've cried at games and occasionally films. I think this would be a better world if everyone could get past bullshit macho posturing and be honest about their emotions. Maybe if Mussolini had been willing to get all blubbery in front of his mates, he wouldn't have ended up swinging from a lamppost. So since I mentioned that very few games have achieved it, I might as well go ahead and list every game that's made me cry, and cite the precise moment that mere lip quivers gave way to full-on face liquid evacuation. This will probably help give us some useful insight into frontline emotional storytelling, or more likely into everything that's wrong with my brain. So let me just drop a general spoiler warning. Every game I mention from here on in, I'm going to spoil a bit, so keep your guard up. The very first game I ever cried to, the one that set the precedent, was of all things, Wing Commander on the Amiga, and I wasn't even particularly into it. My brother was, though, and for some reason he thought it would be amusing to watch me, a small child with no interest or experience in 3D space dogfight games, utterly fail at playing this one. So I had a go, didn't really shoot anything, and got killed. But Wing Commander had pretensions to being cinematic, and so when you die in that game, you have to watch a prolonged cutscene of your funeral, in which your commanding officer gives a stirring eulogy as your casket is pushed off into space. And I cried, because the last thing my child ass expected when I'd sat down to play my brother's dumb space game was to be confronted by my mortality. And oh crikey did my brother give me shit for it. Proceeding in no particular order, let's move on to one of the more recent examples, Spiritfarer, a weirdly joyful and uplifting game about killing all your mates, in which we sail a metaphorical boat around a sea, giving rides to our friends metaphorically reimagined as zoo animals, build them houses, get to know them, give them metaphorical hugs, and then take them to the metaphorical gateway to the afterlife and watch them disappear forever, leaving their houses on our boat taking up space, not doing anything, and impossible to demolish, to symbolise the presence they retain in our memories. When it comes to tear-jerking, it holds nothing back. I don't think there was a single instance of passenger deletion that didn't threaten to set me off, but the one that broke the dike was Alice the Hedgehog, an elderly woodland creature suffering from dementia, who you have to watch as she descends from being fully cognizant to having no idea where she is or who you are. And this is what sets Alice apart, because every other character asks voluntarily to go to the Everdoor when they feel they're ready to move on. When we escort Alice there, there's an uncomfortable sense that she has no idea what's happening. She's kind of already gone, and we're just tidying up the empty shell she left behind. But then, moments before she disappears, she suddenly remembers who we are, and just for an instant we get a glimpse of the real Alice again, just in time for her to go away forever. And that's the precise moment that sets me off. Fucking hell, man. A hedgehog hasn't given me feels like that since I trained one to crawl up my bottom. Next on the list, Undertale. I've praised this one more than enough over the years. Suffice to say, it's a game whose goofy, primitive appearance hides staggeringly intelligent writing, where every character starts off as a silly cartoon, but has acquired depth and sympathy by the end, without ever compromising the comedic tone. The moment that sets me off is in the game's good ending that you only get from refusing to kill a single enemy and befriending every NPC. It's the moment during the final boss fight with Azrael Dreamer, when he finally stands down, reverts to his old self, and your character goes up and gives him a hug. There's a very specific dynamic that I find particularly affecting. It's when a character who was once good but turned villainous as a defense mechanism after being victimized returns to the side of goodness when they're finally treated nicely by someone. And this is a dynamic that plays out again and again throughout Undertale's good run. None of the monsters you encounter are bad people. They've just been burned before and think they need to hurt you before you can hurt them. I don't know why this speaks to me so much. Maybe I wish more people would recognize the nice, kind, loving person I was before I was betrayed one too many times by Ubisoft. Number 4 on my list is Infamous 2. You may recall Infamous as a series of superhero sandboxes from the PS3 era by developer Sucker Punch, in which you play a dude with lightning powers, and the ongoing gimmick was that you could choose to play as a hero or a villain. And while that particular dichotomy feels very limiting in today's more sophisticated era of fascists versus nutters moral choices, Infamous 2 explores it about as interestingly as one could. It culminates in a final dilemma wherein you must decide whether to kill all the humans or kill all the superpowered people, and the interesting thing is that the NPC who has been advocating the good path up to now switches sides and advocates killing all the humans as the logical choice, whereas the evil character declares this to be the one line they refuse to cross and recommends saving the humans. The game has 2 endings, obviously, and funnily enough, they both make me well up. The good ending because the main character dies and it's all very sad. The bad ending because of the moment where our character is forced to kill his best friend, who is a normal human with absolutely no chance in hell against us. But the game forces us to press the shoot button multiple times to do him in, as if to say, you made this choice, you fucking own it, matey. It's even more upsetting because looking back at it in retrospect, it kind of works as a very on-the-nose metaphor for what Sony would proceed to do with the Infamous franchise. Put them out on Steam already, you fucks. Our final entry is another relatively recent one, Cairn, the adventure climbing sim by the Game Bakers. As I said in my review, Cairn is a game I particularly like as someone who enjoys climbing as a sport because it recreates it better than any other climbing sim I've tried, but it's also a compelling story about obsession and about a woman slowly destroying herself for the sake of hitting the heights of glory one last time. And let me just reassert the spoiler warning I gave earlier, because this is a big one. At the end of Cairn, if you choose the option to continue climbing to the summit in defiance of everyone telling her it's certain death, and frankly, why wouldn't you? It'd be such an anticlimax otherwise, then Ava reaches the summit after one last grueling push, having alienated and driven off everyone who tried to help her, and even her robot pal has died. As she gets to the top, she gives a primal scream and drops to her knees in the snow. Then she looks up and a handhold appears in the stars. We grab it, and then another, and ascend into the night sky on a ladder of sparkling lights, jumping higher and higher with each hold, getting faster and faster, until we transform into a beautiful comet that streaks through the universe. What the game then does not do is smash cut to Ava's frozen corpse slumped down on the summit of the mountain like Jack Nicholson in The Shining, and that's probably for the best, even though that was my interpretation of what was happening in the real world. These were the most ambivalent tears on this list, because while I was sad that Ava had driven herself to her own implied death, there was a sense of joy and release to her ascent into the stars, now that she'd divested herself of the obsession that had screwed up her life and could now return, unburdened, to the firmament of the cosmos. Again, I wonder what this says about me, that maybe I should work less and hug my kids more, maybe. Right, well, that's my soul laid bare, now it's your turn. Come on down to the comments and let the world know about what specific moments in video games caused you to shed actual, literal, ugly, nose-drippy tears. Don't be self-conscious, we're all friends here, there'll be no judgment. Well, unless you admit that you cried at the bit in Sonic 2006 where Sonic snogs the human girl, we'll all judge the fuck out of you for that.
This video is brought to you by PlayTracker, the app that tracks your cross-platform game library, achievements, stats, friend activity, and more. PlayTracker works by connecting to a wide variety of gaming platforms: Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, GOG, EA Origin, and, as of the latest update, Nintendo, Epic, Retro Achievements, Ubisoft, Battle.net, and Riot. It then combines all of your profile data in one place so you can acquire XP, level up, and unlock rewards no matter where you play. Have you ever been watching one of Second Wind's streams and found yourself thinking, hey, I bet I've logged in more hours of Super Smash Bros. Than KC, earned more achievements in Souls games than Jack, and tried more games than Yahtzee has tried on Yahtzee Tries? If so, you're a sick, twisted individual. And we want you to join our guild on PlayTracker. Put that gaming prowess to use and unlock Second Wind-themed profile cosmetics. Keep up with our latest videos on your social feed and earn your spot on a leaderboard of our top fans, which I like to look at every morning to keep myself humble. Unite your gaming multiverse with PlayTracker and join the official Second Wind Guild today.